So there is nothing worse than hearing a rich person say, money won't fix your problems, because for a lot of people that's not true. In this video, we are going to analyze 7 signs you're going to be rich by Mark Tilbury. So can you actually predict whether someone is going to get rich, or does it all come down to luck? And there is no way to know if you are going to become wealthy or even a millionaire. Let's watch and let's find out.
I remember leaving school at 16 without a penny in my pocket. I was struggling day to day to pay my bills.
Now I'm wondering, what kind of bills do you have to pay at 16? Because for most people, they live at their parents' house, they're not in university, so they're not like massively in debt or working 2 jobs at the same time to trying to afford the university program. So I'm really curious, at 16, what kind of bills are you actually paying for?
And falling deeper and deeper into debt. I was earning less than $2 an hour, working day and night just to make ends meet.
And that is what most people are going to do for the rest of their lives anyway. And by this I mean trade their time for money, be paid per hour. But let me tell you something, if you are always paid simply per hour, you are very quickly going to be limited when it comes to the amount of money that you can be paid in a month and in a given year. Why? Because there are only so many hours in a day or in a week or in a month that you can spend working. And also, isn't the goal to work as little as possible, to put in as little effort as possible, and to get out as much money as possible and as much freedom as possible? I think that most people would love this. However, this isn't going to be accomplished with a traditional job. So you see, the way that most people go about making more money is that they think that they need to have better qualifications to be paid more per hour still. And that might be true, but for most people, they're not going to go from $12 an hour to $120 an hour. And even if you do manage it, you make that 10x. It's a big increase. However, it's not going to make you rich, because guess what? You're still limited when it comes to how many hours you can spend working in any given day. You can't spend all of your waking hours working. And even if you work 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, Monday to Sunday, no rest days, on the long term, you cannot sustain this type of life. It's going to eat away at you. And to be honest, the reason I started my own online business, it was to be free. It was to build a better life for myself. It was to experience the abundance that this world has to offer. It wasn't to work more hours or to make myself a prisoner. I wanted the money to work for me, the business to work for me, not the other way around.
I wanted to be rich so badly, but felt like it was never going to happen to me. Little did I know, there were some clear signs that I was going to become rich.
Right now, you might be in the exact same position. You really want to get rich, whether that be 6 figures a year, 7 figures a year. Some people, they even want to make 8 figures a year. It's all going to depend on your goals and on what you want your life to look like. Some people, they want to live the laptop lifestyle, while other people, they just want to set big challenges and crush them day after day. So let me know in the comments down below, why do you want to be rich so badly? What's the big goal? Because let me tell you one thing, if you don't have a strong reason why you're actually doing things, why you get up every day, why you work hard every day, when it's going to get tough, and believe me, at some moments it will, you'll quit. You won't have what it takes to stick through it. And the people who win in life, who make millions, who attain what they want, who manage to buy their dream home, to live in a place they love, to travel whenever they want, to be able to go dine in the best restaurants in the world, to buy presents for the people that they love, the people who build their dream life. It's not the people who have the highest IQ or the most natural talent or who are the most confident. It's none of that. It's the people who get back up every time life knocks them out. Like, I tell you this for a fact. When I was younger, I wasn't the strongest physically. I was pretty skinny, in fact. And so whenever I would get into fights, I would always lose, technically speaking. But I had this one edge over literally anyone else, over the stronger opponents. I would always get back up, even after falling. And that applied no matter how many times I failed. I had resiliency, and that is especially what matters in business. That you don't quit, that you keep going, especially when you are at your worst. Because no one is going to come and save you. No one is going to come and boom, give you $1 million. You have your dream life, and you have to do nothing to get to the top. Now, it's fair that you might be worried, that you might be asking yourself, am I going to make it? Is it actually possible? I had the same worries when I first got started in the world of online business. And in fact, I would like to go as far as saying that if you were never worried, you never doubted yourself or your business, then you would not be human. So it's normal to have some worries. However, you must keep yourself in check, and you must not let those worries and those doubts prevent you from doing what it takes, from putting in the work, and from reaching your goals. Because to give you an example, I've heard so many people tell me I didn't get started because I was afraid. And then I asked them, well, afraid of what? And they tell me, afraid of failing. But if you think about it from a logical, a rational point of view, this excuse makes literally no sense whatsoever. If you're afraid to start because you might fail, then if you don't start, you'll fail. 100% guaranteed. At least when you do start, even if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you have no strategy, you're all over the place, at at least you have somewhat of a chance that you will succeed. But if you don't start, you don't do anything, then what do you honestly think is going to happen? Nothing. That's what is going to happen. Now, I will say this one thing. Successful people usually have many common traits. And oftentimes, I'm just going to observe people quietly. I'm going to look at them, at the way they behave, at the way they speak, at what they say, and I'm going to think, does this person have the potential to make it big? And some people they don't, and some people they do. And what I've noticed is that among the people who actually become successful, like I see their transformation, they usually have some common traits. For instance, one of them is adversity, the ability to keep going through pain, to keep getting back up after each and every failure. That's one trait that you will find among every single successful person. I can guarantee it, because truthfully there is no such thing as an overnight success. When you see somebody, they become a massive success, like maybe they blow up on YouTube or on social media, everybody thinks, oh, this person, they got lucky, it's the algorithm. In reality, you have no idea how much work and how many years they've been just working hard in the shadows. You don't know how many sacrifices they had to make, how many nights they stayed up wondering if they were ever going to make it. So keep in mind that even when something looks effortless, like you might watch a YouTube video, and some of those YouTube videos, they're animated like movies, literally. I even have some of those on my channel, and you might think, oh, it's easy to do. It's not that much hard work. In reality, I cannot even put into words just how much actual work goes into making high quality content. It's a lot more work than most people realize.
Number one, you know that the phrase, money won't fix your problems, is a load of rubbish. There's nothing worse than someone rich saying, money won't fix your problems.
Yeah, that's kind of like attractive people saying, oh, it's only internal beauty that matters. Obviously, when they say something like that, you know they are full as shit. Because while I agree that internal beauty is actually what matters more than physical beauty, because long term it is going to stay, whereas your physical body is going to decay. So for most people, the beauty, the physical aspect, it's going to go away over time, and what will be left is the character, the personality, the values. But let's be honest here, especially when you're young, your appearance matters and a lot. So there is nothing worse than hearing a rich person say, money won't fix your problems, because for a lot of people, that's not true. Now, something that is true is that simply giving somebody more money, it's not always going to fix all of their problems or make them happier. The reason is because there is a difference between being free and having money and having money. To give you an example, you could be a CEO, you could be an executive, a professional working for a big corporation. You could be making 6 figures a year, driving an Audi or a Mercedes to the office every day. But deep down, you could be seriously miserable because you work 80, 90 hours a week, you barely have any time to spend on your hobbies, to spend with your family, with your friends, and to just enjoy life. And when you are on your vacation, you've got notifications buzzing up, you've got to respond to so many emails because you have a lot of responsibilities within the company you work for. So you never really get to rest properly. And others on the outside looking in, they might think you have the perfect life, you're very lucky. Because hey, after all, you make a lot of money, you drive a nice car, and hey, you're on vacation at the Bahamas. But what they don't know is that you spend all of your days, yes, you might be at the Bahamas, but you're still replying work emails. So how much fun are you really having? So that's why you need to understand that having more money is not always going to make you free. And another proof of that is that lottery winners, they typically lose everything within just a few years. 70% of them, they lose everything, like I said, within just a few years. Studies have shown that. And the reason why is because if you give somebody so much money, they have never seen that amount of money in their lives. If they're not educated on money and on finances, most people, they're going to blow it all. Like just give $100,000 or $1 million to most 16-year-olds. Are most of them going to make wise financial decisions to grow their wealth? Honestly, most of them probably not. They're probably going to blow it on stupid stuff to impress other people and to gain social status. And if you don't believe me, well, 78% of pro athletes, they lose everything, they go broke within 3 years of retirement. And it's not like pro athletes don't have discipline, adversity, because I mean, to get to the top of your field, especially when you're a pro athlete, you need so much discipline and adversity, it would make the average person puke.
Trust me, I've been there. You see, I believe there are two different types of problems we all face. The first type is your basic needs. These are things like water, housing, healthcare and food. Now, if you're facing the first type of problems, then the answer to all of these is clear. You need to earn more money. Everything you're stressing about can be solved with more money.
That's completely true. If you don't have enough food to eat, or you don't have heating, you're always cold because of it, or you can't sleep well at night because you live in a toxic environment, you're surrounded by people that you don't like, it's taking a toll on your mental health and also on your physical health. Obviously, more money is going to solve your problems. If you work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, because you have to provide for a newborn, for instance, obviously more money is going to solve your problems. And I would even go as far as saying that money can solve most of your problems. And And the people who say the opposite, the people who say that money doesn't make happiness, they're full of shit. If you've got the money and the free time, you have, boom, the freedom. And that is when you experience the best life possible. Because you've got the money, you have the option to choose anything you want. You can choose where you want to live, where you want to go on vacation, how much you want to spend. You can stay in the best hotels in the world because the price tag to you, I mean, it's nothing. You can drive the car that you want. So it gives you so much more peace. And it also increases your happiness by a crazy level. I mean, you've heard probably that making more than $10,000 a month, it's not going to make you happier. That is not true, because $10,000 a month, it's not that much money, especially when you make that with a business. Like, let's say you make $10,000 with your online business, then you'll have to pay corporate tax, which can go up to 35%. It depends on your country. But then you'll also have to pay income tax, or you will have to pay a flat tax rate if you choose to pay yourself with dividends. But that can go up to 30% or even sometimes 35%. So if you make $10,000 a month, but you want to live in a penthouse, you want to go on crazy vacations, you want to drive supercars, obviously that's not enough. Now, if you just want to travel, to have some fun, to pick your own schedule, to be your own boss, and you don't really care much for luxury, then that's completely fine. Most people, what I've seen is that they want to make anywhere from $10,000 a month all the way up to $100,000 a month. That's the sweet spot usually.
When you fix the basic needs, your focus shifts onto type 2, which is the abstract problems. These are things money definitely can't fix, such as love, happiness, and fulfillment.
Now, I agree that money is not going to solve all of your problems, literally, because if you go through a rough breakup, you find out that the person you love is cheating on you, obviously having more money, it's not going to solve the problem directly, because it's an emotional issue. However, not having money, or not having enough of it, is going to make that issue 10 times worse, because think about how many couples they don't divorce, or they don't break up, because they don't have enough money to do so. So they live together still, but they hate each other, and they simply do so by convenience, to pay the bills more easily, or because they have kids. These people, deep down, they're miserable, they're suffering. And think about the kids also. The parents are always arguing, hating each other. It's not a good environment to grow up in.
Number 2, when you see an obstacle, you overcome it. Successful people focus on the opportunities rather than the things holding them back. Now is one of the best times to start a new side hustle, as there are so many different industries booming online.
This comes back to what we were saying earlier. Most successful people have the ability to persevere, to keep going even when things get tough. They keep getting back up after every failure. Now, does it mean that this is innate, that they were born this way with this magical ability to overcome any obstacle? Obviously not. I don't like to feel pain. Nobody likes to feel pain. You see, that's where most people go wrong. They look at successful people and they think, oh, those people, they're naturally confident, they're naturally extroverted. Like, believe it or not, I'm an introvert. Yet nowadays I can speak to literally anyone without any problems. Whereas before, it was a different story, let me tell you. But I overcame my fears. I set challenges for myself and I crushed them. If you had told me a year ago I would be making 2 YouTube videos per day, I would have told you, what? I wouldn't have believed it. And if you had told me this is what my life would look like thanks to starting my online business, I wouldn't have believed it either. Because let's be honest, even if you are very ambitious, you put in the work day in, day out, you still have this little voice in the back of your head telling you, what if it's all too good to be true? What if it's not going to work out? You might be experiencing this right now.
Number 3, you prioritize buying assets when possible. When was the last time you thought about buying something and took the time to decide if the item was going to help bring money into your life or drain money away from your life?
Let me ask you a question. Who benefits from inflation? The poor? The middle class? No, the rich. Why? Because they own many assets typically. And so the more assets you own, because they will gain value thanks to inflation, the richer you will become without having to do any extra work. Because all you need to do, quite frankly, is to maintain the assets, to hold on to them, because they will naturally gain value. However, if you don't have any assets at all, you will only lose money, because the money that you've saved up in the bank, it's not going to grow. It's not going to multiply itself out of thin air. You cannot print money unlike the banks. However, what you can do is to invest your money wisely. Now, there's plenty of people, they're going to say, invest $200 a month in the stock market, and maybe one day, in 50 years down the road, you'll be able to retire with $1 million or $2 in the bank. And that's the dream that they sell you. In my opinion, you shouldn't go about things this way. That's not how I do things. What I focus on is to build a cash flow online business. It means a business that is not going to be very costly. You can start it for not that much money and you can run it for not that much money, but at the same time it's going to bring in a lot of cash. That's why we call it a cash flow business. And then you can use some of the profits generated with your business and invest them in real estate or in the stock market, or you even use some of that money to start other businesses. And that is how you secure your wealth, because you build new assets, you acquire new assets, and with inflation those assets, they will gain value, making you richer as a result. I mean, honestly, wealthy. Why do you think most lottery winners, they go broke within just a few years? It's because when they receive that money, all those millions, they just blow it all on stupid stuff. They don't make smart financial decisions. They don't invest in the stock market. They don't start a business and do proper research beforehand. No, instead, the first thing they're going to buy is a supercar, a $300,000 car, a mansion, a $10 million mansion, a yacht. But they are just buying liabilities. They have no money coming in. So if they spend all of that money, at some point, they will simply run out of money. They will not be able to pay for that lifestyle indefinitely. In my opinion, the best thing to do is to start your own online business, and then you take some of your profits, invest them in the stock market or in other investments like real estate, luxury watches, or even other things, and you live off of your dividends. And if you invest enough, you can pay for a crazy lifestyle with only your dividends. And at some point, you will have invested enough money and you will be able to completely live from your investments. This means that no matter what happens in your business, either way, you are covered. Your lifestyle is paid for by your different investments.
Number 4, you know there is so much more to learn. How many people do you know that when they have a couple of days off or during the evening spend all their spare time playing video games and watching Netflix?
Let's be honest, that's most people. It might even be the case for you right now. And there's nothing wrong with playing some video games, watching some Netflix, if it helps you to relax and to do other things. Quite frankly, most people, they work 9 to 5 or they have some other type of schedule, but they come home, they have some responsibilities, maybe they take care of kids or they do this, they do some chores, so they don't have the energy to start a business, to work again, and that's why they're going to play video games, to watch Netflix, to watch TV, or to do things that simply don't require much energy, because they have worked all day. Now that isn't to say that if you want to obtain a different life, a different outcome than most people, you won't have to make sacrifices, because you sure as hell will. You can't expect to become a millionaire, to be at the top 1% of society, and yet to only put in just a little work or barely any work at all. If you've got a job right now, you want to quit it, you might have to work a couple extra hours per day if you want to start your own online business and reach financial freedom. Because if you want to reach that point where you have other people working for you and you can just work 20, 30, 40 hours a week and have a crazy lifestyle that you love, to build your dream life, to get to that point where you can relax, have fun, have a balanced life, you'll probably need to work really hard for a couple years, like 1 year, 2 years, it depends. But let me tell you, it is completely worth it, because when you reach that high point, you will be so grateful to your younger self for having put in the work. That is delayed gratification. Like you probably know the marshmallow experiment or the cookie experiment. There's different versions, but basically researchers put some kids in a room and they put a marshmallow or a cookie in front of the child and they said, if you can wait until I get back, you'll have 2 instead of 1. And they followed those kids later on in life as they became teenagers and adults, and what they found out is that the people who could actually resist the temptation, delay gratification, they ended up a lot more successful in life than the rest. And that's because the things that you want to obtain, the things that everybody wants, the jacked physique, the millions of dollars, the nice vacations, the nice cars, the beautiful homes, everyone wants those things. However, it's only the people who are going to be willing to put in the work on the short term to make the necessary sacrifices that are going to obtain those things. And that is why they are so desirable, because only so few people have them. Now, like I said, money needs to go with freedom if you really want to have an abundant life, a life that makes you happy. And the best way to do that is to start your own online business. Now, if you have no idea how to start, you don't know what to do, I have recorded a free video in which I am going to analyze every popular online business model. We take a look at the pros, at the cons, and I am also going to share with you the 3-step process that you can use to start getting your first customers today. The link is in the description below. And with that said, as always, I am waiting for you on the other side.